Welcome back to Nerdrotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and this is the last episode of STD Live. Welcome to STD Live, everybody. I am in San Francisco, California, and I am pissed because I wasted part of my life watching this god-awful piece of crap show that really ended with such a whimper. And when you guys find out how they fixed the canon, and I'm not going to bury the lead, I'm going to tell you right now how they fixed the canon in Star Trek Discovery. And yes, I'm going to spoil the episode, but I'm going to save you a lot of time. So the reason Michael Burnham and the Discovery and the Spore Drive is never mentioned again in canon is because it is confidential. It's confidential. So how does that explain why Spock never mentions he has a sister? Because if the incident, which I will get to, is confidential, it doesn't mean you have to deny her entire existence. Alex Kurtzman is a moron. Michelle Paradise is a moron. By the way, she's running the show from here on out, and she co-wrote the episode with Alex Kurtzman. So there's your big fixed Star Trek canon, everybody. And when you hear the other things that they laid the path for, your brain is going to explode. I am very concerned for my friend Doomcock. Dictor Van Doomcock, if you're watching this, make a new helmet. You're going to have to make a new helmet. Now, this has been demonetized already. I don't give a crap. But thank you so much, Tamarox, for the $50 super chat, which more than covers everything. So glad for all of the awesome streamers who view the horrible crap so I don't have to. That's right. I don't know who else is live, so thank you all for joining me here on the Nerdrotic channel. So we're going to briefly recap the episode. Then I want to get to those of you who watched it or didn't care to watch it. But yeah, not to bury the lead. Once again, the reason we don't hear about Discovery, Spore Drive, or Michael Burnham, it is confidential. Everybody who knows about the incident was promised not to tell. But that doesn't explain why Spock, one of the greatest characters in the history of television, has been destroyed. Now, I am going to toot my own horn a little bit because I did predict in my Spock has infected Star Trek video so long ago that indeed Michael Burnham taught Spock how to be a better Vulcan. Why? Because he says so at the end of the episode. He says, I had my father's path and my mother's path, but it was only you who could show me the way. She also lays the ground for the Kirk and Spock relationship when she's saying goodbye to him, a big long goodbye. And I'll tell you what happens to the Discovery at the end. I'll leave some mystery, but there's a big long goodbye. And she says, you need to reach out. There's people who are going to reach out for you, and you need to reach out to them. And you need to reach out to the person who's the furthest from you and let him guide you. My notebook, I threw my notebook. Now, if you're a patron, then you watched me watch this episode. Not a lot goes on here. Now, very early on, I've covered every single episode of the show. I will be doing a short breakdown video, and I will be doing a complete breakdown of season 2 because I have some very different takes on the entirety of the season. I'll share a little bit here. So they laid the ground for the Kirk and Spock relationship, and it is just a mess. But very early on, I said that the Michael Burnham Mary Sue story that we are going through here feels like a superhero origin. Well, she straight up becomes a superhero at the end, straight up with her Iron Man costume, traveling through time and fixing nothing. They actually had time travel. They could have fixed some stuff, and they didn't. And so much for your Borg theory, by the way. It wasn't the Borg. I wish it was. And they even had an opportunity that I'll get to make it the Borg, and they didn't make it the Borg. So, credit to Popcast. They put together a pretty good video that it might have been the Borg theory, but actually I had heard anti-trekkers say the same theory using Enterprise and First Contact. Go check out the videos. But no, that's not it. No Borg. No Borg. Okay, so before I get to the chat, I'm going to try to get through this recap. It is dumb as hell. So we start out with the big pew 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 battle. The Section 31 ships show up, and there's 31 ships. Did I get that right? So it's Leland and a bunch of and a bunch of remotely controlled Section 31 ships. It's just Leland. He's the only human life, or the only life sign they found, even though he's not human. It seems really cheap. Doesn't it seem cheap that they had him just fight a bunch of ships? So the whole episode, and I keep saying this as I'm watching it during my view party, I'm like, we're 30 minutes in, we're 40 minutes in, we haven't fixed Canon yet. They didn't fix the Canon until there was 2 minutes left in the episode. So there's a big battle in space, and it's the enemy, and it's Section 31, this OP Section 31. Oh, and the 31 ships, or 30 something ships, turn into a bunch of little ships. So they turn into a bunch of nano ships. And they armed all the shuttles, the Enterprise and the Discovery. Where the hell the rest of Starfleet is, who knows, who cares? Their signals are jammed because they decided to finally call Starfleet for help, and they couldn't. I don't know why they wouldn't have thought of that in the first place, but this is Star Trek Discovery. And all the big ships turn into a bunch of little ships, and it turns into a big melee thing. So Poe, our little ice cream queen of science and the world, whose sister is a planet, is the only one that figures out that these ships have a lattice shield that I will call a lettuce shield, and you can't take them on 101. It has to be 2-on-1. So it has to be a menage a trois of space battle. It can't be 4-on-1 or 5-on-1. It's got to be a 2-on-1, and only she figures this out while she steals a shuttle and goes and fights. So they're all fighting. Everything's going nuts. Leland's the only life sign, and Michael Burnham, and they're all trying to protect Michael Burnham. So Michael Burnham's got to get in the suit. She's got to, and they're trying to get the Discovery to the future, to where Terra Elysium is 900 years where Mom is. So the whole point is to protect Michael Burnham, because, well, that's the whole point of a Mary Sue. So there's all this battle, and they're replicating the time suit. They're using the replicator to make the time suit. Yeah, why not? So they spend all this time. It's about 15 minutes in the episode, and she finally starts to put the suit on. In the meantime, they're showing all these battle scenes and people dying, and Stamets gets blown up, and it shows the Doctor going, we need more people down here. And then they go back to the Michael Burnham and Spock scene, and they're just staring at the time suit in reverence, giving monologue speeches on how important the mission is and everything. And everybody's dying all around them, and they're just like, awesome, radical. And so she puts on her Iron Man costume and straight up strikes an Iron Man pose. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times in this episode, strikes an Iron Man pose. So she jumps out of the ship, just like they did in Star Trek Into Darkness. Isn't this sound familiar? So we have some OP Section 31 technology, and we have some suits that people need to jump out into space. And I could have sworn that happened in Star Trek Into Darkness, which was co-written by who? You guys win. Alex Kurtzman. All right. So she jumps out into space. All the shuttles are surrounding her to protect her, because, God, we can't let anything happen to the Mary Sue. The Mary Sue flies out into space, and she starts doing all these computer things and get ready to power the 7 signals that are 30,000 years apart, but she can just do it in a suit. Where does she poop in that thing? Oh, that's right. Michael Burnham doesn't poop. Never mind. So Leland beams aboard like everybody saw in the time crystal vision. And by the way, I saw a couple articles today on what did Tig Notaro see in her vision. Well, we never know, because they never show us. So the torpedo gets lodged into the bridge of the Enterprise, like we saw in the time crystal. And Number 1 and Admiral Cornhole have to go down and fix it. By the way, I'm going to bring this up in my season 2 breakdown, because I wanted to wait to see every single episode of Star Trek Discovery. I need to check my facts on this one, but I'm pretty damn sure no single scene shows a majority of men in a scene, unless it's just a shot on a man. Within the first episode, that shows everybody running around trying to fix stuff, and there was 2 you'd have to see the scene to get it, but it was basically two dumb white guys being pushed off by the women because they were just getting in the way. They achieved full Bechdel test in 11 minutes. They were a little slow in this episode. So Leland beams aboard and starts shooting everybody, and I'm rooting like hell for him, but he's missing like a stormtrooper. And then he takes off to the spore drive, and he's looking for the information to become an AI because he's Pinocchio. He's okay. Again, the whole basis of this is an artificial intelligence wants to become conscious. It has a desire to become conscious, yet it's not conscious yet. And as I did in my last review, I put up the definition of conscious, and you can't be conscious. I mean, you're conscious if you have a desire. Okay. Jesus Christ. And listen, high school dropout, freaking high school dropout here. I'm not a man of science. I am not even a full on Trekkie. I'm a big Star Trek fan. My wife is a bigger Trekker than I am, but, and thankfully she doesn't watch this stuff. She ain't got time for this. So the, Leland beams aboard, misses everybody. He's going to get the sphere data for the AI. He fights Georgiou, and I'm forgetting her name, the new security officer, and they do some karate or kung fu. I'm sorry, some kung fu, and they fight. And he can't fight off these two women, even though he's a pretty much an invincible robot. But it's Georgiou. And by the way, I want you guys to pay attention to all of Michelle Yeoh's kicks to the face. Like those comedy bits where a guy's standing still and you see his foot like come up like this. It looks exactly like that. Watch him in slow motion. It's pretty funny. So Michael we're about 3/4 of the way through the episode. Michael Burnham and Spock are like, "Oh, I miss you. Oh my God, I love you. And Spock's engines get disabled, so he's not able to go with the crew of the Discovery into the future like everybody predicted. So she's trying to figure out a path. She sends she sends 5 signals. There's still 2 signals left. She's not sure why they didn't send it, and I don't really care at this point. Admiral Cornhole can't disarm the torpedo that's lodged in the Enterprise and it's on a timer, so there's an arbitrary time clock. It's very Chris Chibnall of them. And there has to be somebody in the room to do something manual. And of course, Admiral Cornhole is going to sacrifice herself. And man, thank God she dies. Pike goes down there, and right when he gets down there, she's all, "This thing's going to blow up in 90 seconds. And I'm like, I would have led with that before you sent Pike all the way down there. It looked like they were going to have his accident early, which I'm glad they didn't. But for some reason, she had to stay in the room. So Pike, there's a countdown going on, and you think she's got to pull some lever or something. That's why she has to be in the room. So Pike leaves the room, and they're going to vent the airlock or whatever, right? So he leaves the room, and you think she's going to pull the airlock. She stands away from the torpedo, puts her arms behind her back, looks up, and then the airlock gets vented. It's like, well, if you didn't need to pull anything, why in the hell are you in there? But I mean, I'm glad you're gone, but maybe I missed something. And again, I don't care. But you can certainly put it in the comment section. I will get in the chat soon. So we spent a bunch of the episode doing flashbacks of season 2, like any of us want to be reminded of anything from season 2, but they show us all the 5 points of light, multiple points of light. And then, so the 6th signal is going to be a signal it's a beacon for the Discovery to follow Michael Burnham through the wormhole into 900 years in the future to Terra Elysium. So she opens up the wormhole, she goes through it, and then we watch the Enterprise and Michael Burnham go through the wormhole for like 5 minutes. And the whole time Pike is looking concerned. He looks sad when Cornhole dies. He's giving, it's pretty much the whole episode is Delta Gamma 5. Wouldn't it be quicker to say D5 than Delta 5? I don't know. So yeah, so we get a bunch of flashbacks. There's a bunch of pew, pew, pew everywhere. Georgiou leads Leland into the spore drive containment unit. And at that point, I'm like, oh, that's how they're going to create the Borg. They're going to spore his ass into the Delta quadrant somehow. And they don't do it. They just use that so she could torture him and watch him scream. And she's all, "I love to watch people scream." Oh, what I also forgot to mention is during the dogfight, the Klingons showed up. L'Oreal shows up with a Klingon bird of prey, and she decides to get into the fight and join the Federation against Section 31, the super secret agency that she obviously knows about now. And it was Vok Tyler who brought her there. And I had mentioned earlier, they did all this talk about the Klingons coming back and all the big change. We saw the Klingons for like an episode and a half. So yeah, but you know who else shows up? Saru's sister. Saru's sister flying a fighter that she had just learned how to fight, but she's now dog fighting. She's all, yeah, I just learned how to fly a fighter, and I'm out here fighting because I want to be Starfleet too. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. So the Klingons and the Kelpian who just learned how to fly a starfighter, and I don't know what these starfighters came from. By the way, they have a bunch of little pod fighters too that we've never seen. Not the glass pods, a new one. So the ship people can maybe they showed up in Enterprise and I missed it, but I've never seen those before. So we watch the Discovery and Michael Burnham go through the wormhole or the butthole at this point for 5 minutes, and they finally go through. And they're but prior to that, I'm getting ahead of myself. There was that big long goodbye I told you about. So Michael Burnham and Spock come to terms that they're never going to see each other again, and that's when Spock tells Michael Burnham that, I had my father's path, I had my mother's path, and you're the only one who showed me the way to be the Vulcan I am. How many people called that? Because it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. So, yeah. And that's when she also gave the speech to reach out and look for somebody, basically look for your opposite, basically look for Kirk. And she sets the foundation for the Kirk-Spock relationship because Michael Burnham is now the most important figure in Star Trek. That was the whole point of this hack job, because they felt like they needed to rewrite Star Trek because there wasn't enough women involved. And again, every scene had 2 to 3 women to 1 guy, whatever, but it got comically noticeable towards the end, and it was pretty damn funny. And I was laughing at that point. So the Discovery goes through the wormhole, Michael Burnham. We don't see them again. There's no resolution. We don't know what happened. The end of the episode, we're in San Francisco, where the Golden Gate Bridge is a bunch of solar panels. A lot of good that's going to do, but okay, fine. And they're at Starfleet, and they're being interrogated. And again, the officer interrogate him. They don't shoot his face. It's like this mysterious, evil Starfleet. They make Starfleet look so effing evil. So they talk about how Section 31 might have gone off the rails a little bit. So they put Vok Tyler in charge. He's in charge of Section 31 now because he has the unique world view for the duality of Section 31. And that's almost a perfect quote. It's not that great, sorry, but I'm paraphrasing a little bit there. And then they interrogate number 1, Captain Pike and Spock. Of course, number 1 is all snotty and, it's like, are we done yet? Is that the last thing? Are we done? And Pike, and so Spock is the one who suggests that any talk of the Discovery or their crew or this mission, because the party line is it was destroyed, and any talk of it would be treason, which means if Michael Burnham was still around, she'd just talk about it everywhere. So yeah, that's it. And Spock talks to Amanda and Sarek and talks about how he will never bring up his sister in public again, which makes no sense because you could still acknowledge she was alive. You just can't acknowledge the mission. And they show a scene with beardless Spock. They get on the Enterprise. Admittedly, the bridge of the Enterprise looks pretty good. That will be the compliment I pay. And they take off. They show Pike and number 1 and Spock taking off. And that is where the episode ends. And thank God it's over. Bring on the Expanse. So let's get to the chat. I got some super chats to get here. Peter Davison, the time crystal. When they decide to, when they got the time crystal charged, Tig Notaro's character brings it up to the bridge, shows this is in the middle of a battle with people dying. She brings it up to the bridge and goes, I got the time crystal charged, and then gets back into the elevator and goes away. So yeah, there were time crystals. Thank you for the Australian $10. Again, Tamarox, thank you for the very generous $50 super chat. So glad for all the awesome streamers who view this horrible crap so you don't have to. And Peter Davison, say hello to mom for you. Thank you for the Australian $10. Bird of Prey 5. Let's just land on this random convenient platform in the middle. All right, Bird of Prey. Thank you so much. So Spock and Michael Burnham land on what the great Bird of Prey 5, said, there's this random like platform in the middle of space and they're just sitting there talking. Yes. So let's just land on this random convenient platform in the middle of space. This is where we can launch your time missions. Oh, Robert, thanks, Bird of Prey 5. It's good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. By the way, real quick before I continue, Nerdrotic Jr. and you singing Berlin Sex had Nerdrotic Jr. in stitches. I mean, he had like little snot bubbles coming out. He was laughing so hard. So thanks, man. And Anti-Trekker. God bless Andy Trekker. Robert, mail it, and I'll be in his chat later if he's going to be doing a viewing party. Canadian $10. Iron Burnham and the Al of Doom and the AI of Doom. It was dude. It was Riri Williams. We got to see what Riri Williams looks like in Star Trek Discovery. Jaeger bomb. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate the Canadian $10. God bless the Canucks. Jaeger bomb, $5. What is worse, people who made this show or people who honestly defend it? Clown world version of Star Trek. There is a honk honk where's the honk honk when we need a I know, right? I don't know at this point, Jaeger bomb. There's a couple of YouTubers who always allude to me and Midnight's Edge and stuff, but not by name. There's one particular person who alludes to us, and he says some he throws some daggers, some verbal daggers. I might be saving something for him. But what do I think? Bad taste. I mean, listen, people can have bad taste. I mean, general bad taste. We all like bad stuff. I like bad stuff. You like bad stuff. But there's something charming about it. There's nothing charming about this. This is filled with agenda. This is filled with a few. There's at least the priority of this show is not storytelling. And as I said in my last video, they don't want Star Trek fans. They want MCU fans. They want Star Wars fans because they honestly don't think there's enough Star Trek fans out there. They honestly think Star Trek is not appealing enough, that they need to make it this thing to make it appealing. Just completely ignoring it's been around for 55 years. And that's been going on with a lot of our franchises now, instead of simply just being itself. You can modernize things, make the effects look a little better, hold that effing camera still. But I submit the Orville for the old Star Trek aesthetic again. It works just fine. Jaegerbomb, thank you for the $5. Michael Canule, thank you for the $9.99. Star Trek is no more. That no truer statement has been spoken. Star Trek is officially dead. Picard series ain't going to save it. Not under this regime. Section 31 is not even going to happen. Yeah, this is cooked. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what my insider told me. I was saving that towards the end. This hurts worse than I found out when I found out about Santa. Thanks for falling on the sword for us. You are quite welcome. And I'm sorry to report this, Star Trek fans. I am. You deserve so much better. You're the original fandom, the first fandom, the most unique fandom, arguably the smartest fandom. But now I'm wondering about that with some, not with all. And I could just end this. Oh, well, no, I'm not going to end right now, but I could just end the statement with watch The Expanse. That's your show now. It's a show worthy of Star Trek fans. It really is. Bruce Lombardo, $1.99. I hope you were able to pick up your CAF today. I was not. Unfortunately, I have been working on the website and the channel all day. I'm still woefully behind. Got through my emails today a little bit. sent out some packages for Patreon, but I will be picking that up. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. God dang it. Yeah, tomorrow morning I'll be going by the P.O. box. And thank you again. Wayward Astronaut, $5. When the writers of this crappy, when the writers of a crappy Sonic the Hedgehog game are better at retconning than you're an absolute disgrace as a writer. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure who is worse to be in charge of a franchise. I mean, I'm about to make my first video about Kathleen Kennedy. I still think she is. Kurtzman and Kathleen Kennedy are right there. They are even as far as just listen. Alex Kurtzman's experience with Star Trek was seeing it on at his friend's house, and that's who you put in freaking charge of Star Trek. Chris Persia, I hope you're watching at CBS. I hope some CBS people are watching this. And despite my obvious snark and rage, I truly, truly want Star Trek to be good again. And if any of you are listening, get rid of this dude. He's not good. Okay, the fans don't like him. The only people who are defending the show are defending it on some sort of political ideal. That is it. They are not defending it because it's good, because it's not. You're wasting money and you're killing a franchise. You still have a chance. Shut this show down. Get a new showrunner. And I don't mean Michelle Paradise. Rand Shankar is out there. I mean, I don't know if you leave The Expanse, but if you threw enough money at him, Ronald D. Moore is out there. Mark Zickery is out there. There are tons of people out there. I'm sure there's plenty of women who know Star Trek who you could find if it has to be a woman. Okay. Geek Truth, $64.99. Your recap is more entertaining than STD itself. Thank you. I try to be. I'm a little fired up. And Wayward Astronaut, you are so correct, man. Ugh. Chris Persia, Canadian, $2. STD officially jumped the time stream. It certainly did. It is dead. It is gone. It went right through the wormhole. And by the way, again, that's how they fixed everything. They just took Discovery out of they threw it through a wormhole at the end of the episode, and nobody's supposed to talk about it again. That was your big fix that you were promising for a year. When I get, and this is going to lead into what my insider told me. I'm going to get through a couple more super chats, and I'll read you what he told me, and then I'll get to the chat. Thank you, Chris Persia, and thank you for your wrench. John Ridges, $10. I think what happened to CBS is that being a PC company, they had a quota of differently talented people that they had to hire, and somehow they all ended up on Star Trek Discovery. Exactly. Well, I think they saved a few for Twilight Zone, but that is a video for a later day. Thank you, John. Blind Jack, Canadian, $10. Gary, what in the heck did I just watch? This is nonstop confusing action. This was a nonstop confusing action set piece. What a mound of crap. A total giant freaking Bandini mountain of freaking turds. William Cothran, $10. The new writers think heavy FX is what sells. The best Star Trek episodes from any series had very minimal FX and was story actor driven, as was seen in The Next Generation's The Measure of a Man. Exactly. This is not a cinematic TV show. It is a TV show with sets and static cameras and talking heads. But the first priority was good storytelling. Yeah, they just threw money at the problem. And CBS, I mean, listen, if anybody's watching, you're wasting your money and you got to be pissed. Okay. What my insider told me today is an email went out at CBS today. People are not happy. CBS is not happy. They are not happy with this. They are not happy with how things turned out. Oh, and I will read what he said. Oh boy, that's a lot there. Okay. All right. I just got this from my guy. I expect the final thought. I expect the finale tonight to be the last nail in Kurtzman's coffin. It is with the reshoots in all of the last 3 episodes, and it sucked. And no one is going to think it solves anything. Agreed. I believe this could be it. Unless there is a miracle, CBS email has exploded with hate. So be sure and add some to the pile of CBS feedback. So something went out today. Some shit went down. They had to know prior to this. I'm sure they saw this. But by the way, let me again go to Twitter to see if it's trending. It could be. It'd be a first if it was. Hey, I got my own notification. That's always good. And then I'll get right back in the chat. Oh, look at that. So here's what's trending. Greg Monroe, Oshie, Jared Dudley, I don't know who that is. Dave East, I don't know who that is. Some Trump thing. Levert, Gotham, Snatch Game, no Star Trek Discovery. Here, I'll even show y'all. And then I'm going to get to the chat. There you go. Star Trek Discovery finale. Big finale. They fixed Star Trek Canon. Not a blip. There you go. There you go. Let's get to the wonderful, wonderful chat. Thank you for waiting patiently. What time did I start? 6:30. Okay, we can go for a few more minutes. I'm going to be doing a breakdown video of this. I'm going to be eviscerating this thing, and then I get to eviscerate the entire season next week. And then Twilight Zone, freaking Twilight Zone. Sorry, I lost my chat here. Hang on. There it is, right there. Okay. Wow. What's up, Robot Rod Shlomo? Alex Kurtzman is a cultural locust. He is. So according to Robert Meyer Burnett, who was excellent, by the way, and I heard he would be willing to come on my show. So hell yeah, I want that to happen. I love that guy. I was watching his live stream today. That they are still mining Brian Fuller stuff even to this day. And apparently, the Brian Fuller stuff, the more I hear about it, the more interested I was. It was supposed to be an anthology show that was going to have an overarching plot through different timelines that was going to lead to one place. That would have been excellent. That would have been different and excellent. Kennedy at least has a history of success in the 80s. Fireside Chats, you're correct. You are correct. It might have been by association, though. But Kurtzman's associations are Sam Raimi. Kurtzman was with Sam Raimi for a little while, but none of that rubbed off. But I think he was getting Sam Raimi's coffee. By the way, sip Pete's for the working man and woman, or woman and man, whatever, and aliens. Okay. Good to see you, Robot. Dr. Meatball, what's up? Penn Farm Girl. Gotham is enjoyable for what it is. It is. It's better than Star Trek Discovery, but you know what? Everything else is. If they're missing Brian Fuller's stuff, then why isn't it translating to the screen? What's getting lost? Well, Brian Fuller's not doing it. Oh, if they're mining and stuff. Brian Fuller's not doing it, and apparently it was just treatments. But that's something, Robert Meyer Burnett, you're going to have to ask him about. But it's just outlines. There's no details. So Kurtzman's he's a hack, and JJ's a hack too, and that's his boy right there. And I'm sure some of you have heard the Rise of Skywalker spoilers. Oh, it's going to be really easy to boycott that turd. So for sure, STD is canceled. Phoenix might know STD is getting a 3rd season. I am if CBS wants to waste money, go right ahead. But it's not just going to be wasting money. You might have already killed the franchise. So what the hell at this point? Doesn't really matter. Does it get past the 3rd season? I don't think so. Okay. Dean Heiss, what with his Orville symbol right on $5. It's like the writers for these shows have never actually seen the show ever. Not for Doctor Who, Star Trek, or Star Wars. I'm starting to believe this. The writers for Star Trek Discovery watched YouTube videos of Kirk and Spock playing chess and didn't pay attention. They were looking at their phones while they were watching them on their computer. Thank you, Dean Heiss. Mark C, $2. Did you hear RM read my letter today? Oh, was that your letter? I didn't know it was your letter, but yes, I heard him read that letter. Mark C. I didn't know it was yours. Cool. Yeah. Brian Fuller should go back to Dead Like Me. I don't think anybody will touch Brian Fuller right now because he leaves too many shows. From now on, Philippa Georgiou is known as Fallopian Georgiou. See tonight's Orville for reference. I will. And I will be covering that next. Thank God. Thank God. And Mark C, thanks for the super chat. Dean Heiss, thanks for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Oh, Jesus. It was so bad. So friggin' bad, this show. What kind of self-respecting robot punches a 90-pound woman in the head 5 times and then knocks her out? I know. Well, then she doesn't go down, actually. I mean, you know. Rome Hater, is Doom Patrol canceled? It's being evaluated with the entire platform. My guess is they'll try to sell it to another network. But it's not being widely reported. DC Universe shut down Swamp Thing early, and there were supposed to be 13 episodes. They told them to hastily write an ending to the 10th episode. They shut down production, and they're reevaluating the entire streaming service. How does this relate to CBS All Access? Don't be surprised if something like that happens, because these things cost a lot of money. Come to my live stream on Friday. We'll talk more about it. I have a streaming insider. I have somebody who worked for Netflix and on the D Plus streaming service who I know. Mercer Create, $2. I miss when Star Trek was about ideas, right? I miss when it was just good. Thank you, Mercer. Nerderotic, they take a bunch of digs at STD on Orville tonight. Oh, good. Good. It's kind of funny because when the Klingons came in that battle, it kind of reminded me of the Krill coming in Identity Part 2. Man, it was bad. A new CW series. It really is. I mean, like Star Trek Discovery is its feelings in corridors, its feelings in hallways. It is CW. And well, Michelle Paradise is writing it, and Byo-young Kim was writing it, and those are 2 CW writers, soap writers. Wayward Astronaut, $5. Wait, what the hell are they going to do for season 3? Everyone is gone and dead. That we're probably going to follow the Discovery into the far future, and it's going to be kind of a Voyager situation, like I had kind of predicted. But I'll be honest with you, from other YouTubers and people who are in the chat, I heard much better theories and predictions than what they actually came up with, and I am not surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all, because you guys are more creative than they are. And I hope they're watching this, and I hope you listen, and I hope you take it to heart. You know, hey, you tried. I'm not going to say you gave it a good effort, because it's obvious you didn't. It looked like a bunch of job preservation and a lot of, like I said, a lot of other priorities before storytelling. Mindless action and embarrassing melodrama, says Mikhail Stivik. Oh boy, Stivik. I'm sorry. Tell me how to pronounce that. Yes, completely mindless in every way, shape, or form. Bryce Byerly for $10, just a tiny amount to pay for the therapy for watching this for us. I'm going to need it, but you are my therapy. All I can imagine is Anson Mount flashing a single beam over and over again when asked if he will work for Star Trek again, right? I was thinking about putting that in the video. I probably should have. I wonder what he muttered after he said we would have to have a lot of creative conversations. I'm curious. I'm thinking something like over my dead body. No way in hell. My insider thinks he said over my dead body. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my last Star Trek video that came out this morning. Spin the bottle random idea would be better for STD. Exactly, Dax Jacobson. Exactly. Oh, 350 million. Did you see that Anson Mount interview where he took a month to do one of his episodes? Robert Smith. I put it in my last video. It is inserted in my last video, which is Anson Mount or Star Trek Discovery Pike is not coming back. A return requires creative conversations. Go to my channel and watch it. Yeah, I also caught a couple. Did you see his facial expression during that? He said, "Not my Skywalker." Ah, that's right. Anson Mount, the only man with a dick in Star Trek Discovery, the only one on the bridge. That's for sure. Sailor Moon is here from the future. Well, I'm sure Discovery will tell us what the U.S. is like in 2100. I think all sentient life will be destroyed, right, Sailor Moon? Because my old Commodore 64 is going to come to life and kill us all. The key word there is creative, says Robert Mallet. Exactly. Lick that like button, everybody. Lick that like button. Pike return requires creativity, which Discovery writers lack, says Nyla Shadow. You are correct. Oops, sorry. Didn't realize this was still STD. Orville rocks. Orville is next. As a matter of fact, I think it's time to wrap this one up, folks. I'm going to put up the Patreon video. And then I got to get to my next show, one that I actually enjoy. But thank you. We had almost, 700 people watching this? That's pretty amazing. That is pretty great. And yeah, I'm going to do a shorter video later. I don't know how many other people are live streaming right now. So that's pretty great that so many of you, God dang it, where is the Patreon one? There it is. That's old. There it is. Bum, 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 bum. And then I'll read some more chat while this is going on. There, present to everybody. Okay, back to the chat. Scott Cade, LLA. What's up? Live long and prosper. LLAP. That is right. Live long and prosper, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank God this is over. The live streams, of course, will continue. Game of Thrones with Victor Van Doomcock on Sunday. The Orville. I'm loving the fact that the Orville season finale is by itself next Thursday, and all we've got is Orville to cover. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm taking aim at the Twilight Zone on Nerdrotic Live, as well as Happy and Doom Patrol. There are many shows coming. Good Omens is coming. I can't wait to cover that. Also, I would like to announce that I will be at the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas at the end of July, and I'm trying to get other YouTubers to go. I think it would be great. It's always a financial issue. But I can tell them right now, it's a great write-off. It is a brilliant write-off. So, going to the Star Trek convention in Vegas, that ought to be lots and lots of fun. And I bet you we don't see many Discovery people there. That's just my guess. We'll probably see a lot of Picard show. Did you see the Krypton season 2 trailer came out today? Yeah, Krypton sucks. Krypton's terrible. I won't even bother. The Gifted got canceled today as well. So I'm a little worried about the Orville. The Exozone is coming soon. Doomcock is busy. So I'm waiting on the word from Doomcock, and then I will do the Exozone. So yeah, everybody, I'll be right back on in about 45 minutes to an hour. Thank you for all the super chats. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Guys and gals, thank you for the very generous super chats. And unfortunately, I am sorry to report Star Trek is indeed dead, folks, and it's going to take a miracle for it to come back. And I'm sorry, but Star Trek Discovery, it sucks. And to recap one more time, their big fix to canon was it is a confidential secret in Starfleet, and they are not supposed to speak about the Discovery or Michael Burnham, or it would be treason. Still doesn't explain why Spock doesn't bring her up, but we always have Leonard Nimoy Spock. Nothing will take that away, not even this garbage. So everybody, live long and prosper.